Thank you, Carl Ravitch. Next from Fenway Park in Boston, it's ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. Tonight, it's the Texas Rangers and former home run king Juan Gonzalez taking on the Red Sox and American League home run and RBI leader Mo Vaughn. It's the ESPN Sunday Night Game of the Week. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough, filling in for John Miller tonight, and it's great to have you with us for the final game of this four-game series. The Rangers have won 2 of the first 3, but that news has taken a back seat here in Boston. The off-the-field developments involving Boston's all-star first baseman Mo Vaughn. The slugger involved in some slugging on Thursday night after the ball game at a local nightclub. He suffered a bruised left eye. He has not played in the last 2 ball games, but Joe Morgan, he is in the lineup tonight.
Well, the only problems he has had this year have been off the field, because on the field, Mo Vaughn has been the leader of this Boston Red Sox team. And you have to remember, they've only gotten 2 wins from Clemens, 6 home runs from Canseco, and Mark Whitten is in the minor league. So right now, I think Mo Vaughn deserves to be the most valuable player in this league.
Meanwhile, the Texas Rangers contending with California in the American League West. As always, pitching a concern for Texas. Kenny Rogers, their ace, will get the start tonight. He's been pushed back 2 days because of some tightness in his left shoulder. But as usual, Joe, the Rangers are relying on hitting.
Well, they've got a healthy Will Clark back, and they also have Juan Gonzalez for the whole second half. And anytime you have 2 hitters with those 2 potential, you have a chance of winning your division. They've also gotten a good first half from Mark McLemore.
Kenny Rogers on the mound tonight for Texas. He'll be opposed by veteran lefty Zane Smith. First pitch in a moment. Beautiful night here in the city of Boston. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball comes your way tonight from Fenway Park. The Texas Rangers and the Boston Red Sox. This afternoon, some good news for the Red Sox in that Detroit was swept in a doubleheader by the California Angels. So the Red Sox will take the field here tonight with a 4.5 game lead over the Tigers. Baltimore within 5.5. Of course, that good news for Boston is bad news for the Texas Rangers and their fans, as they lost a game in the standings, with California winning 2 today, and the Angels lead now a game and a half over Texas. The Rangers of John Oates at 41-31. And as we mentioned at the outset, the Rangers still rely heavily on their hitting, and the big surprise among those numbers, the home runs. Without Jose Canseco this year, with Juan Gonzalez having missed much of the season, the Rangers only 10th in the American League in round trippers. Tonight, Johnny Oates has Otis Nixon leading off and playing center field. Mark McLemore is in left field. Will Clark bats third at first base. The cleanup hitters, the DH Juan Gonzalez. Ivan Rodriguez, the catcher, bats fifth. Batting sixth and playing third base, Luis Ortiz. Jack Voigt is in right field. Jeff Fry, the second baseman, and the shortstop Benji Gill will bat ninth. And the Red Sox just now taking the field, and Mo Vaughn back in action. As you can see, the left eye still puffy and swollen. He also has a swollen lip. He was involved in an altercation Thursday night after the ball game at a local nightclub, and he says he feels 100%. Red Sox hope that Zane Smith can get back close to 100%. As you can see by those numbers, he's still in the rotation basically by default.
Well, this is basically the Zane Smith that most people felt that he would become throughout his career. They say, well, how can he win? But he's been a continuous winner throughout his career, and now he's struggling. But Zane Smith is a smart pitcher, uses a lot of different speeds, changes speeds well, and he knows how to pitch. And let's take a look at the Boston defense. I think the key here is John Valentin at shortstop. He has played very, very well, and he's also started to hit with some power. He's been a very happy addition to this Boston Red Sox defense.
And the Red Sox defense has been suspect throughout the year. They are 12th in the league in team fielding. Texas is 13th. The only team that has fared worse defensively in the league is Chicago. Before tonight's game, Joe Morgan had a chance to speak with Mo Vaughn.
I thought there was some disrespect involved, and I went at it as a man should go at it. I don't regret what I did. What I regret is something that, you know, because I've been in the community here with the kids, and because I've been with the fans, you know, it's a shame that something like this had to come about. But in no way, shape, or form am I going to change my attitude. In no way, shape, or form am I going to change what I do here in Boston, what I do here throughout the country.
Well, the one thing that impressed me about Mo Vaughn is he said it's not going to change his outlook on the community and how he views the people here in Boston. He considered this to be an isolated case, and he just has to be careful in the future. And I think that comes for all professional athletes. You're competitive as individuals, but you have to realize usually the people out there have more to lose than you do. And I think Mo Vaughn realizes that now.
He is enormously popular here in Boston, not only because of his playing ability, but also because he does a tremendous amount in the community. Otis Nixon leads off. Switch hitter batting .287. First pitch of the night. A strike from Zane Smith. Of course, Nixon last year played for the Boston Red Sox. He and Luis Ortiz went to the Rangers in the deal that brought Canseco to Boston.
And the Rangers have tried to change their entire outlook with that trade. They felt that they were just known as a home run hitting ball club, and you could pitch to them, and if you pitch well, you could get them out. Now they've tried to make a team that can manufacture runs, and Otis Nixon is the start of that. If he can get on base, steal some bases, just get the offense started, not wait for the 3-run homers all the time. Different Texas team than we've seen in the past.
And last year when he was with the Red Sox, Boston took on a different look. These two teams similar in that regard. They haven't had the prototypical speedy leadoff type. That's what Texas was looking for when they made the deal with Boston. Of course, the Red Sox were hoping that Lee Tinsley would be able to step in and take Nixon's place, provide some speed, and he has done that.
There you get a picture of Johnny Oates and Gonzalez on the left. Johnny Oates is a completely different personality than Kevin Kennedy, and we'll discuss that as the game progresses. You can see Johnny Oates in the background. That's kind of the way he is. That picture tells it all.
And happy for John Oates that things are going well for him in Texas. He's definitely one of the good guys in the game. Was affected somewhat by the pressure cooker in Baltimore with high expectations, brought on in part by an owner who wants desperately to win, Peter Angelos. Now he's in a slightly less pressurized environment in Texas and has the team 20 games ahead of where they were last year. They were 10 games under when the season ended last year. Now they're 10 games over, and Nixon is called out on strikes as Smith hit the outside corner.
Well, that's what Zane Smith does for you. He will throw a lot of change-ups, off-speed pitches, and then he will sneak the fastball by you. This is a fastball on the outside corner, and he catches Otis Nixon looking. And again, he changes speeds well. He knows how to pitch. He knows when to use the fastball.
First pitch to Mark McLemore is a strike. Talk to the Rangers. They'll tell you that McLemore was their MVP of the first half. Played a number of different positions. Played well everywhere he's been asked to play and has done the job with the bat in his first season with the Rangers.
In this day and age, the more positions you can play, the more valuable you become to your ball club, and especially if you can play those positions well.
Hit on a hop at the second baseman Juan Bell, and he throws McLemore out for the second out of the inning.
That's the way the small Texas hitters are going to have to hit Zane Smith. They'll have to go the other way if they expect to have any success. Of course, Juan Gonzalez and some of the stronger hitters can hit him any place they want, but most of your singles hitters will have to go the other way.
Will Clark hitting .298. His power numbers down as a result of several nagging injuries. At the moment, an elbow problem, a groin pull, as Will thinking primarily about just trying to line drive the ball around the ballpark, not necessarily try to jack it out.
Well, as I talked about Zane Smith being a smart pitcher, Will Clark is a very smart hitter, and he knows what his strengths are at this time in his career.
And that's at the second baseman, Juan Bell. Mo Vaughn will come up in the bottom of the first for the Red Sox. The Rangers went in order in their half of the first. The Red Sox getting ready to come to bat for Kevin Kennedy. Red Sox among the league leaders in average home runs and runs per game. Averaging 5.4 runs per ball game, third in the league. Tonight they have Lee Tinsley leading off and playing center field. Willie McGee in right field. Mo Vaughn at first base. The cleanup hitter, the DH, Jose Canseco. Tim Naring is at third base, batting fifth. Batting sixth at shortstop, John Valentin. Troy O'Leary is the left fielder. Mike McFarland behind the plate, and the second baseman Juan Bell will bat ninth against Kenny Rogers.
And Kenny Rogers got off to a great start. He is now 8-4, but he has struggled a little bit in his last few outings. There you see he's given up 90 hits in 94 innings pitched. Take a look at the pitches that he throws. That's a four-seam fastball that he throws. This is his sinker. That's his curveball, the one finger, and his slider. And he also throws a circle change. So he uses all of his pitches during the ball game, but he really relies more on the sinker. When he is sinking the ball well, he gets away with a lot of ground balls. There you get a look at Otis Nixon in center field. He's the key to their defense. As Sean mentioned, both teams struggle defensively, but especially on the infield for the Texas Rangers. But Otis Nixon has made them a pretty good defensive outfield.
Covers a lot of ground in center field, as does Lee Tinsley, the man who took his place after Nixon was traded to the Rangers. First pitch of the night from Rogers, a strike. Tinsley batting .287. He's a switch hitter and a better hitter left-handed, batting .255 from the right.
And because they had a left-handed pitcher going tonight, he was really working hard with Jim Rice before the ball game on trying to take the ball back through the middle and to the right side.
And it's 0-2 as Rogers was in with the breaking ball. Joe mentioned he's struggled lately. Kenny has won only one of his last 6 decisions. The pitching coach Dick Bosman says the pitches have been up. They hope he can get the ball back down around the knees.
Got up to a great start, 7-2, and struggled in his last 5, as you mentioned.
A little lob in shallow right. That will fall in front of Jack Boyd.
Well, it's not pretty, but it works. And that's exactly what Jim Rice wanted him to do, is fight the ball off the other way rather than getting out in front, pulling the ball and hitting it off the end of the bat, hitting that little weak ground ball to shortstop. So he stays on this ball a little longer. See how long he waits. He doesn't try to pull it. You say, well, he flared it. That's true, but he did a good job of staying in there and hitting the ball. And they really do not put pitchers in the box score the next day, just the numbers, and he's 1 for 1.
Box scores and scorecards in golf. No pitchers.
Yeah, no pitchers.
Willie McGee, one of the newest members of the Red Sox. This is a team now that has used 44 different players. And it'll be 45 when 20-year-old rookie Jeff Supan starts here tomorrow night against Kansas City for Boston. He is 20 years old. Called up from Double-A today, and the Red Sox released left-handed reliever Derek Lilliquist. Strike, says Don Denkinger.
And that really doesn't matter to McGee, because he will swing at something that bounces. He swings at anything. But McGee hits the ball where it's pitched. A lot of people do not give him credit for being as good a hitter as he is. If you pitch him away, he will hit the ball away. You throw him off-speed stuff inside, and he will pull you.
Throw down to first. And you have to be alert on the bases when Pudge Rodriguez is behind the dish.
Well, especially that tells you that his arm is feeling good. He's had a sore shoulder for last few weeks. Now he seems like he's throwing the ball much better.
And McGee strikes out.
Number 42, first baseman, Mo Vaughn.
Well, I'd say Mo remains enormously popular here in Boston. He was worried that some of his fans might have been let down by what happened Thursday night. At least with the 30,000 or so here tonight, he doesn't have to worry about it.
And I don't think this is just for the 24 home runs, 63 runs batted in, Sean. I think this is for his involvement in the community in and around Boston. And people know what he does off the field for the kids and for the fans here in Boston.
Tinsley back to first.
Doesn't hurt that you have 24 home runs, 63 RBIs, though.
Mo Vaughn has been recognized by the mayor of the city of Boston, Tom Menino, for his work in the community. He's very actively involved in his youth center. Every winter he brings busloads of inner city youngsters to see the Nutcracker. He wants to expose them to the arts in addition to sports, and constantly preaching in the community the importance of an education. He's a product of Seton Hall University. No score. We're in the bottom of the first. Tinsley at first with 1 out. Good breaking ball by Rogers to even the count at 1 ball and 1 strike.
Kevin Kennedy was using a little bit of psychology on Mo today. He was taking batting practice and he wasn't sure he was going to play yet, and he finally said he could play. So Kevin said, man, you don't know how much you just ruined Kevin Rogers' day. He was hoping that you would not play. He said he's afraid of you.
Well, Mo does have 2 career home runs off Kenny Rogers in only 11 lifetime at bats against the lefty. On 4 for 11 lifetime against Rogers. 2 homers, 3 runs batted in.
Good pitch there. After a slow curveball for a strike, he threw the fastball up and in, and that's where you want to follow the good breaking ball away. Watch where this pitch, right up and in. You can see he's a little late on it because he didn't pick up the speed right away. He was still thinking that might be a curveball. A good fastball right by him, but now he's set up for just about anything.
Tinsley has 12 steals. Rogers, well aware of that, he's keeping an eye on the Boston center fielder. Short delivery, and Vaughn strikes out. And that's not a big surprise. He's among the league leaders in whips.
Well, he made some good pitches on Vaughn. I mean, the one pitch that Vaughn had to hit was the first curveball, but he took it. He was looking for something else, and then he threw a fastball up and in. He set him up. Now he throws him that little sinker down and in, and not much Mo can do with it. See, if you chase the pitches out of the strike zone against Rogers, he'll eat you alive.
Vaughn, we should note, has not had any vision problems related to the puffy eye. Couldn't play the last couple of days because it was swollen almost completely shut. Jose Canseco, the batter, 1 ball to count. .252 his average. He's only appeared in 35 games this year due to injury.
And that may even points out even more how remarkable it is that Boston has this lead in the American League East. They have not received much help from Canseco. 2 wins from Clemens. Mark Whitten's in the minor league. And Mo Vaughn has really had to carry it just about himself. I mean, now you see what they've done with Canseco in the lineup with Vaughn. They have averaged a few more runs.
Almost a run per game more when both are in the lineup, and I think that makes what Vaughn accomplished in the first half of the season that much more impressive. That for most of the first half, he had very little protection behind him without Canseco, with Mark Whitten struggling, and as you mentioned, on now to the minors.
Of the Boston run is if they can get Clemens back and get Canseco back, producing as they have in the past, they should have a great second half.
Close pitch called ball 3. Rogers didn't like it. Terry Kraft is the home plate umpire tonight. Don Denkinger at first. John Shulock at second. And Tim Cheetah has the plays at third. The 3-0 was not close. First walk thrown by Rogers. Boston with first and second and 2 down in a scoreless game in the first.
Well, you do not expect him to throw a 3-0 strike to Canseco in that situation because there are 2 outs, and if Canseco is swinging, he could be able to, hit one out of here very easily.
Now Tim Naehring, wondering with the disappointing season some of the Red Sox top players have had, why they're in first place. Naehring, one of the big reasons, among the league leaders in hitting throughout the season, now 6th with his .333 average. The short, and Benji Gill goes the short way to end the inning. The Red Sox leave 2 in the first, and after 1 there is no score. It's a beautiful night here in one of America's greatest cities, Boston, Massachusetts. You're looking at the Charles River, which separates the city of Boston from Cambridge. Across the river, Cambridge, the home of MIT and Harvard. And Juan Gonzalez begins the second. In a scoreless ball game, the Rangers went in order in the first against Zane Smith. Gonzalez with impressive production and limited playing time this year due to back trouble. 35 runs batted in 37 games. And as a result of that back injury, he is almost exclusively a DH these days.
Juan Gonzalez is one of the beautiful hitters in this league. We'll take a look at his home run chart. Most people think he hits a lot of balls straight away into right field, but look at that. In '93, he hit home runs to left field when he led the league.
And Zane Smith with some self-preservation on the comebacker for the first out of the inning.
But take a look at this. This is '93 when he led the league. He hits all those balls to left field, not a straightaway hitter as we think. And take a look at '95. Very similar. He's turned into a pull hitter. But I think that he starts out hitting a lot of balls to right center and center field. As the season progresses, he starts to pull the ball more. It's one of the things I've noticed about him.
Last year, he was really psyched out by that deep left field fence at the ballpark at Arlington.
And when he's healthy, you know he's going to produce. He's going to hit a lot of home runs because he just has a natural home run swing.
Now Pudge Rodriguez, the all-star catcher, having his best year with the bat. .330 his average. 8 homers, 35 runs batted in. Started the day 7th in the league in hitting. And he hits that a long way to center. And Tinsley has it. They have to hit it a long way to center to get it out of Cozy Fenway, the deepest part of the ballpark. The triangle in center field measures .420. What a gorgeous night. Heat and humidity throughout the weekend. It approached 100 degrees the last 2 days here in Boston, but tonight 77 degrees at game time. Very low humidity, and the breeze blowing out toward left at 15 miles per hour.
That last at bat showed you really why left-handers can be successful here, because they turn the ball over, pitch the hitters away, the right-handers, and they use the biggest part of the ballpark, which is center field and right center.
Luis Ortiz up there with a count of 2-0. He was the other player who came to Texas from Boston in the deal that sent Canseco to the Red Sox. He's tuning these days at third base with Mike Pagliarulo in the absence of Dean Palmer. Lost probably for the season with torn bicep. I think that's one of the good things about not having that muscle. You don't have to worry about tearing it.
A lot of strange injuries to players this year, though. A lot of rib cage muscles being pulled, swinging the bat. Ron Gant pulled a muscle when he fouled a pitch off. Usually when you swing and miss, that happens.
Ortiz, a line drive caught by Vaughn. Ortiz hit a bullet, and Vaughn reacted quickly, diving to his right to end the inning.
Welcome back to Fenway Park. Sean McDonough with Joe Morgan. I guess we saw with that last catch that there is nothing wrong with Mo Vaughn's eyesight.
You're right. Maybe it is when he's in the batter's box, but not in the field, because he made a great catch there. He reacted very quickly to that ball.
And it got Zane Smith out of the inning. 1-2-3. The line drive hit by Ortiz.
Beautiful diving catch there by Mo Vaughn.
And the first pitch of the second swung on and missed by John Valentin. Valentin got off to a great start, but he has been slumping over the last month. The average has dipped to 278. He was above 300 for more than a month this year. He's had some nagging injuries, a knee problem. He's also hit in the head by a pitch from Tim Belcher. Caused him to miss some action.
Well, that pitch right there shows you why he's struggling a little bit right now, Sean. His top hand just rolled right over that fastball down the middle. And that's what Jim Rice was telling him. He said, you're trying to pull the ball too much, rolling your top hand. Watch his top hand. Just roll right over. Look at that. See, that's not the way you attack a pitch down the middle. But he's been trying to pull the ball too much, getting out in front. So Jim Rice has been trying to make him stay back through the middle of the diamond with the ball. And truthfully, it hasn't worked the last couple of weeks.
2-2 pitch. Pulled down the line, just foul. Well, despite his recent slump, Valentin still the best shortstop in baseball and slugging over the last 3 years. Well ahead of Barry Larkin and Cal Ripken.
That's interesting. You know, and it's not, as you mentioned, that's a 3-year period, not just this year. So Valentin has shown that he does have a very good pop, has a very good pop in his bat. Jim Rice, the hitting instructor for Boston and former star here in Boston.
Chop to the left side. Ortiz couldn't play it. Gill did for the out.
Good communication there by the shortstop and the third baseman, because that was going to be a more difficult play for Ortiz if he would have caught it running away from first base. But Gill called him off and made a good play. Made it easy. Watch this. Ortiz, that's a tough play for him running away from the play. Gill comes in and catches it and can throw on the move right towards first base. Good play.
Troy O'Leary, the batter. The breaking ball on the inside corner. Here's another big reason the Red Sox are in first place. He's third in the league in hitting, starting today's action at .346, trailing only Edgar Martinez of Seattle and Chili Davis of California. This is a player who was waived back in April by the Milwaukee Brewers. Picked up to be a reserve outfielder for the Red Sox, but then when Mark Whitten struggled mightily with the bat, O'Leary got a chance to play, and he has not relinquished his starting role. One and two now on O'Leary. He's riding an 8-game hitting streak. Rogers quickly off the mound. He flips to Clark for the second out. We're in the second, and there is no score.
Well, when Rogers gets the ball down, as he has the last 3 or 4 hitters, then he's very effective. But we mentioned earlier that he has been struggling because he's been getting his fastball up.
Mike McFarland hitting .212, 10 homers, 31 runs batted in.
When you just look at the numbers on the surface, the .212 is very poor, but he's had a lot of big hits for the Red Sox, game-winning situations, home runs late in the ball game. So he has contributed, but I'm a little surprised because McFarland's a much better hitter than the .212 batting average. But it could be this monster has caused him some problems too. He's trying to hit it at every at bat.
And some here locally would suggest that it could be the amount of playing time that he has received. This is the 72nd game of the year for the Red Sox. They'll reach the midway point of their season after tonight's game, and McFarland has played in 62 of them. He had a rare night off last night.
One of the things that Kennedy mentioned to me is he's going to have to start resting some of his players because they're going to have quite a few games in a row in this next month. And he's going to start taking hitters out of the lineup, giving some guys some rest just so they can be fresh down the stretch.
Vaughn had played in every game this year prior to sitting out the last two with the bruised eye. Now the 2-1. Swung on and missed. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Nobody on. No score in the second.
So far, this looks like vintage Kenny Rogers. He's throwing through a changeup there in a 2-1 situation. He knows the hitter's looking for a fastball. He gets the hitter to chase it.
Hammered down the left field line. Laid off the wall by McLemore. McFarland speeding towards second, if you can call that speeding. And he has the first extra base hit of the ball game.
That was speeding for McFarland.
Yeah, he knew he had to hurry or it would be close.
As soon as I give Kenny Rogers a pat on the back for keeping the ball down with the changeup, this pitch here is up, and this is where he's been getting hit. Right there, pitch up, and McFarland drills it into the corner. See that? Above the belt. Anytime a sinker ball pitcher gets the ball above the belt, he's flirting with danger, and McFarland makes him pay for this one. Now he's in scoring position. Actually, I thought they were going to have a shot at him at second base, but he hustled it in.
And the number 9 batter, Juan Bell, giving Luis Salicea a night off at second base tonight. Bell making just his second start of the season for the Red Sox. Called up from their AAA team in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. There's Luis Salicea. Bell was impressive in his only other start. He hit a home run in Minnesota. Juan's the younger brother of former Major League standout George Bell.
His brother was one of the true RBI men in baseball.
Bounce down to third, and Ortiz throws him out. After 2 in Boston, no score. And welcome back to Fenway Park. There is no score as we head to the third. Saw a view of Fenway Park from the Prudential Center, second largest building in downtown Boston at 52 stories. And Jack Voigt leads off. He's in right field tonight. Jeff Fry and Benji Gill to follow against Zane Smith. Smith has pitched 2 perfect innings. A little help from Mo Vaughn last inning when he snared the line drive up the bat of Ortiz. Smith's been doing a lot of extra work on the side in the bullpen with pitching coach John Cumberland, Kevin Kennedy, the manager, trying to get him to release the ball from a higher release point. He's been dropping down too much, they feel.
Well, if he gets it up on top a little bit more, it'll be a little more deceptive. You get a little more pop on the fastball.
Close pitch called a ball. Smith, as we mentioned, more or less still in the Red Sox rotation by default. He has not pitched well, but Aaron Seeley and Von Eshelman, who were in the starting rotation earlier this season, are disabled. Seeley had a setback last night. He could not make a rehab start down in Florida. Had some tightness when he tried to warm up. And there's John Cumberland, the pitching coach, trying to put this starting pitching rotation back together. If the Red Sox have a concern, it is about their starters. Wakefield's been great throughout, but Hansen has struggled lately and is bothered by a bad elbow. Clemens has been just another pitcher. And Zane Smith as you can see by those numbers, has not fared well at all this year. Jeff Supan, a 20-year-old right-hander, called up today, will start tomorrow against Kansas City. One strike on Jeff Fry. He was originally not in the starting lineup tonight. Mickey Tettleton was going to play left field and McLemore second base. But Tettleton was scratched when he aggravated a nagging injury that was bothering him, a rib cage muscle pull. You talked about the rib cage muscles. It's an epidemic, and Tettleton, one of those affected by it.
I'm wondering if there could be a couple of causes. A lot of hitters are going to lighter, thinner handle bats, and they're using their bodies a little bit more than they did in the past. With a heavier bat, you didn't get the chance to use your body as much. And that may be some of the reason they're pulling the rib cage, because they're really turning with their bodies.
Fry, another of those players who spent some time on the disabled list this year. As a matter of fact, he just came off the DL on July 6th. So 2 stints on the disabled list this year with a pulled right hamstring. Shoots it foul to the right.
Again, I think that's the proper approach for someone like Jeff Fry, to take a guy like Zane Smith and go the other way or back through the middle. I don't necessarily believe in going the other way. I believe you try to hit everything back through the middle. The ball sinks away, you'll naturally hit it the other way. If it's inside, you'll go ahead and pull it.
Chopped over the mound, Valentin to Bell, and Vaughn with the scoop. Double play, 6-4-3, 2 outs and the base is now empty in the Texas third.
I tell you what, one of the things I've noticed on SportsCenter each night is watching Mo Vaughn scoop balls out. I tell you what, he's known for his offense, of course, and sometimes a guy who does hit well, their defense is overlooked. But I've seen him make this play quite often, just scoops it out. Good play. Should have been a routine double play. Should have been a better throw by Bill. He got a little pressure from Voigt, but should have been a routine double play.
Now Benji Gill. Mentioned when Vaughn struck out. He's among the league leaders. He's whiffed 80 times this year now. The only man who has struck out more often in the American League this season is Benji Gill. 85 strikeouts, but Rangers are pleased with his development. He's been solid defensively, and even though his average has dipped lately, he has had some big hits.
Well, he's had good pop in his bat. I mean, the ball jumps off of his bat. And when he makes contact, he puts a charge into it. But as you mentioned, 85 times he has not made contact this year. But, I mean, he's learning, and as you mentioned, you know, they've been waiting for Benji Gill for a long period of time there in Texas, and now they finally think he's here to stay.
He's not had a hit in this series. He's 0 for 10.
As a hitter, you hate to play 4-game series, because by the end of the 4th game, they know exactly how to pitch you. They know exactly what to do. You know, if you play a 3-game series, usually you can get in and get out of town, maybe get a couple of hits and keep going. But if they find a weakness, I mean, they bury you for 4 days.
We have talked a lot in the past about speeding up the game, and you and I both agree if they call more strikes, it would speed up the game, and certainly Terry Kraft has not had a very generous strike zone for either pitcher tonight.
Hey, on the roof at Fenway.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice night to be sitting up in the roof boxes. Short trip to the concession stand. Talking about a new ballpark here in Boston. The Red Sox management says it would like to be in a new facility by the year 2001.
You know what Roger Clemens' take on that was? He said, why don't you dig down about a foot and take this stadium and put it someplace else? He likes Fenway Park, and obviously if they do move, they'll probably try to keep some of the characteristics of this ballpark intact in the new stadium and just make it a little more comfortable for all the fans who come out to Fenway.
Because of its age, it opened the week the Titanic sunk. They have to spend a lot of money every year to maintain this ballpark, and in this day and age of baseball economics, 33,000 seats isn't going to get it done. They hope to be in a ballpark of about 48,000 seats, Camden Yards type park, right on the harbor in downtown Boston. Nixon fouled one away, 1-2. The count on Otis. With 2 outs, a runner at first. Smith has walked 2 in the inning.
I think another point that's overlooked sometimes, with only 35,000 seats here, not going to get too many All-Star games here either.
That's right.
So you want a park that will be able to, host a Midsummer Classic.
As the Rangers just did in their new ballpark in Arlington. Two is fouled away. Obviously, a raging debate here in Boston about whether Fenway should be preserved or replaced.
A lot of great memories here. Great tradition here at Fenway.
You provided one of the worst.
Yeah.
Talked about flares earlier, but I know yours was a line drive that went out there in the center field.
Box score. Remember the box score.
That's right. To win the World Series, latest World Series ever, many believe, in 1975. Valentine tried to barehand it with Nixon running. He couldn't come up with it. And on to third goes Benji Gill.
I hate to say this, but I hate that play where an infielder tries to barehand the ball that is moving as quickly as that one was. If it's almost stopped, I think it's a good play. But to barehand it and let the ball go through like that, that should be a hit and an error, because he let Nixon he let the runner at first base go all the way over to third base, Benji Gill, and so it should have been a hit and an error.
And that's what it is.
Okay, good. Well, not good, but that's the way it should be scored.
The first hit for Texas. Mark McLemore with a chance to give the Rangers the lead. There is no score in the third. McLemore bounced to second in the first inning.
And for all young infielders, I believe you have to catch the ball before you make the play. Make sure you can catch the ball. I mean, if you're adept at barehanding the ball, okay, but I think it's a much tougher play.
10th error of the season committed by Valentin. These two teams have an Achilles heel, and they have a couple in common. Fielding, one of them, and starting pitching, another concern at the moment.
And a lot of times your defense really puts more pressure on your pitching staff. It makes your pitching staff look worse than it really is, because some of the hits, balls that are scored as hits, should be made, plays should be made if you're a good defensive team.
And now Smith's gone to 3-0 with McLemore. Zane has already walked 2 in the inning. The first one cleaned up on a double play ball. It's bench coach Tim Johnson, who you saw alongside Kevin Kennedy. 3-1 now on McLemore.
I think as the game progresses, if you're Johnny Oates and you get a hitter like McLemore 3-0 with Zane Smith, you have to let him hit, especially in Fenway Park, because he's going to get a fastball down the middle, as McLemore did there.
Well, he's walked 3 in the inning. Rangers haven't had the ball out of the infield in this inning, but they have the bases loaded. With 2 down, and John Cumberland, the pitching coach, goes to the mound. Next Sunday night, John Miller returns, and you'll see Cal Ripken, now just 49 games away from tying Lou Gehrig's record streak, against Gary Gaetti, who's having a great comeback season for the Royals. Baltimore, Kansas City, next Sunday night, 7:56 Eastern Time, 4:56 Pacific, right here on ESPN. Bases loaded. Benji Gill at third. Otis Nixon at second. And Mark McLemore at first. Will Clark, the batter, took an off-speed pitch to strike one. He bounced to second, ending the first. He's familiar with Smith, the two of them having spent most of their careers in the National League. In fact, this is Smith's first year in the American League, and that is a base hit over the head of Valentin. 2-run score, and the Rangers lead 2-0.
And that's what I said in the first inning. Will Clark's a very smart hitter. He knows that Zane Smith is going to stay away from him, so he hits a little line drive over shortstop and drives in 2 runs.
Very smart hitter. His pitch is down and out over the plate. You see Will Clark doesn't try to pull it. See, he almost throws it out there. Watch his bat and arm. See, everything is going toward left center field. He did not try to pull the ball, didn't try to hit it that hard, actually. Just serves it out over shortstop for 2 RBIs.
First and third now for Gonzalez. Took a strike of the knee. He had a bullet back to the mound that Smith fielded and threw him out last inning.
I don't think you'll see Gonzalez trying to serve it anywhere.
No. Except in the Charles River that we saw earlier. Up behind the left field wall.
He does not get cheated.
Had only given up 12 walks in 60 and a third inning coming into tonight. He walked 3 here in the third. Like Kenny Rogers, he's none too thrilled with Terry Kraft's strike zone tonight.
Had 29 walks in 228 innings. 91.
In the air, deep right center. McGee at the wall, can't get it. He goes into the bullpen with the ball. And it's a 3-run homer for Juan Gonzalez.
Well, they're claiming that McGee caught the ball.
No chance. It bounced, and then he bounced when he went over the wall. 14th homer of the year for Gonzalez. And he continues to average right around an RBI per game. Now has 38 runs batted in 38 ball games.
This is why I say he's beautiful to watch. See, that pitch is away, and he just goes out and gets it. And hits it over one of the deepest parts of this ballpark. There you see McGee trying to make the catch, and just barely over the glove of McGee, and the ball bounces in the bullpen, but I saw some of the pitchers run and put it in his glove.
No chance of getting away with that. That home run, the 154th of Gonzalez's career. He's now the Rangers' all-time leader in homers, all by himself. He started the night tied with Ruben Sierra, top of the Rangers' all-time home run list.
And that's what makes the Texas Rangers so dangerous. When you have a healthy Will Clark and a healthy Juan Gonzalez hitting in the third and fourth slot, you're going to score some runs.
They've scored 5 here in the third. And Mike Maddox has started warming up in the Boston bullpen. Pitch of the inning by Zane Smith, rounded down to first. Mo Vaughn makes the play himself to retire Rodriguez. But the Rangers get 5, highlighted by the homer by Juan Gonzalez. Texas Rangers took advantage of 3 walks thrown by Zane Smith, and they got a 3-run homer by Juan Gonzalez, and they lead 5-0 as Boston comes to bat in the third. Top of the order, Lee Tinsley leads off against Kenny Rogers. Swing and a miss for strike 1. Tinsley looped a single to right, opening the Boston first. Mentioned earlier, when Nixon was traded to Texas, the Red Sox hoped Tinsley would be able to be the everyday center fielder, but they weren't certain that he would. He was a career .214 hitter in the majors entering this year, but thanks in large part to the work he has done with Jim Rice, he's become a much better hitter, and another one of the pleasant surprises that has helped Boston reach first place. Ortiz was playing in, 1 out.
I want to show you why I think Juan Gonzalez is just such a fine home run hitter. Now watch his lower body. Now watch where he strides to. Now right there, he's in perfect hitting position. Now the ball's away. Watch what his upper body does. His upper body goes to the ball. It goes out there to hit it. It does not pull off this way. See, that's how he extends out. Just a great swing there. And any ball middle of the plate out, he can handle it. And a lot of sluggers can only handle a ball middle of the plate in. But he goes to the ball with his upper body. He strides to the same spot every at bat and every pitch. But he goes to the ball with his upper body. That's, in my opinion, what makes him a consistent home run hitter.
Not a lot of players can do that.
That's quite a body now as well. 235 pounds. They list Gonzalez. When they first started scouting him when he was 15 or 16 years old, he weighed 150 pounds.
That's what I weighed when I started.
The 1-1 to Willie McGee is chopped foul into the Texas dugout. Well, the Rangers trying again tonight to get 11 games above the 500 mark for the year. They lead Zane Smith 5-0. 10 games above the high water mark this year for the Rangers. And this is their 6th try to go 11 games over. Rogers tied up McGee with the inside fastball at 90 miles per hour. And McGee has whiffed twice. And here comes Mo Vaughn again.
Well, Mo Vaughn was pitched perfectly in the first inning by Rogers. That pitch there down and in after a curveball had set him up away. So we'll look to see if Rogers continues that pattern. Curveballs away and sinkers back in. That's a little slider away. So he stays away, and then I think he'll have to come in after he sets him up away. But now with the count 2-0, everything is in Mo's favor. So we'll see how he throws him now. It's easy to pitch when you're ahead in the count.
2-0 is bounced to second. Gobbled up by Fry, and Rogers has his first 1-2-3 inning. After 3, 5-0 Texas.
Welcome back to our Sunday night broadcast. Gary Miller in the studio keeping you up to the second on other games, including this in the bottom of the 14th inning. J.R. Phillips the other way off Doug Brocail. It's his 5th of the year, a game that lasted nearly 5 hours. The Giants pulled out 7-6. Back to Fenway.
Thank you, Gary. While we were away, a terrific play made by Tim Naring on the first pitch of the inning to Luis Ortiz. He hit a bullet down to third, and Naring a great diving backhand stop.
Well, you get a great view of it here. You see how quickly Naring reacted to that ball. Makes the stop, comes up and throws a strike to first base. And Ortiz is retired, but that was just a great look from that position.
Not a very nice way for the Red Sox to treat their former teammate Luis Ortiz. He was the guy who hit the ball that Mo Vaughn made the diving catch on in the second inning to end that inning. And now Naring robbed him of an extra base hit. Jack Boyd led off last inning with a walk. Was erased when the next batter, Fry, hit into a double play. 2 outs and the base is empty, but then all of the damage was done to Zane Smith. Next 5 men reached and all of them scored. Capped by the home run, 2 men aboard by Juan Gonzalez. Foul tipped into the mitt of McFarland. Boyd, former Baltimore Oriole, came along with the new manager, John Oates. Doug Melvin, new GM from Baltimore to Texas.
Housekeeping there by Terry Kraft.
There's a donut.
Batting donut.
Yes.
Not just a regular, not an eating donut.
No, if it was an eating donut, several members of our crew would have run on the field to try to pick it up.
And in case they haven't seen a donut, that's what you put on the end of your bat to get loose when you're in on-deck circle. It's a little circle, a little red circle.
No swing, says Don Denkinger, and the count is full on Voigt.
There's a donut. On the left is the red donut, and on the right, and actually the tape job is a donut too, of some sort.
Down to Naring again. He knocked it down and got it to first in time to get Voigt on a close play.
Well, as a third baseman, really, that's what you have to do. Keep the ball in front of you. You can knock the ball down At third base, first base, and second base, you can knock the ball down. As you see him get way down on one knee, not about to let the ball get through him. Quickly on top of it and throws him out. The only place you have to catch the ball cleanly almost every time is shortstop. Second base, first base, and third, you can knock it down and throw him out. Shortstop, you better catch it cleanly.
Well, Jeff Fry, who went into a 6-4-3 double play last inning. Rangers batting in the fourth, leading 5-0. Trying to make it 3 out of 4 in this series. Played well in this ballpark lately. Won 7 of their last 8 against the Red Sox here at Fenway Park. And the Rangers record 41-31 matches best start in club history after 72 games. We're also 41-31 in 1976. Dramatic improvement in the first year under Johnny Oates. 1-2. Struck him out. A 1-2-3 inning for Zane Smith. He is fan 2. Jose Canseco leads off when we come back. Sean McDonough with Joe Morgan back at Fenway Park in Boston. Rangers lead 5-0. In game 1 of this series Thursday night, they led 8-0, and the Red Sox mounted a dramatic comeback. Bob Tewksbury surrendering this mammoth home run to Jose Canseco through the light tower, estimated at 444 feet. Red Sox got with an 8-7 in that ball game and 9-8, and their rally fell short. They lost the game 9-8. Rogers' first pitch to Canseco, foul over the roof to the right.
Sean, if you're the Boston Red Sox, you're really not concerned that the Detroit Tigers or the Yankees are chasing you. You have to worry about yourself. And I think there is some cause for concern. You need Canseco back. You need Clemens back. Because you can't expect O'Leary and Naring and these players to keep hitting 340 and picking up all the slack. You have to get some production from your big guys. And so they need Canseco to come back and get hot. They need Roger Clemens to win a few games the second half. They're going to hold on to this lead they've built up. Because if you look back, they were 25-12 to start off with, and they've gone 15-19 since that time. So there is reason to be concerned, but the other teams that are chasing them aren't doing much better.
That's right. Especially lately. Canseco a big hack and a miss for strike 3. He had walked back in the first, and Kenny Rogers is now retired 5 in a row. That's his 4th strikeout of the night.
Well, this is a similar pitch they threw to Vaughn. That's a curveball that's down and out of the strike zone. You see Canseco, when he buckles right there, you're finished. When you buckle, he was out in front. His left shoulder had already gone. When you buckle like that, you have nothing left. All you can hope to do is foul it off.
Tim Naring, the hitter. Ball 1 low. Naring bounced out to end the first. Red Sox largest lead in the American League East this season was 9 games back on June 7th. Detroit losing the doubleheader today to California. It is 4.5 at the moment, so the lead's been cut in half, and it could be a lot worse for the Red Sox, as you mentioned.
And there's a long way to go. You're going to need some production from your big players. But Kevin Kennedy's aware of that. He knows he has to get some help from the players he counted on there. You see the standing.
You just have to wonder if the Red Sox continue in this win one, lose one mode that they've been in for more than a month now. That might be good enough with the way the rest of the division is playing.
But again, you worry about your ball club, and you say, how far can we go into the playoffs if we're a 500 ball club down the stretch? So again, you can't concern yourself so much with the fact that the Tigers are not putting pressure on you, or the Yankees or the Blue Jays. You have to say to yourself, we have to make ourselves a good team if we expect to go deep into the playoffs.
And a big part of their problem during this extended stretch where they haven't played very well is the continuing struggles of the man at the plate, John Valentin. He hit it down to third. Ortiz caught it in the air. No chance to double up Naring. Valentin's 0 for 2. When Boston was thriving early in the year, Valentin was threatening to be in the top 10 in the league in hitting. He's a long way from that now.
Well, he's pulling everything, Sean. As you can see, he pulled several pitches in the first inning. He hit that ball hard, but everything is being pulled. And so if anything off speed, he's going to have problems with. Yeah, you can hit the fastball, but you're going to have problems with other pitches.
Troy O'Leary is the batter. 2 outs, Naring at first. Texas leads Boston 5-0 in the fourth. All 5 runs last inning. Ranger fans got a lift last night from the performance of Kevin Gross. It seems like he is finally starting to come on, and it would be a big boost if Rogers could get back on track. The Rangers management has said that they will spend the money to go out and get another pitcher. They need to bolster their staff down the stretch. Tom Schieffer, the club president, says it's time for this franchise to win. Down the left field line, and McLemore in the corner ends the inning. After 4, Texas 5 and Boston nothing. Been an interesting night for Zane Smith, the Boston starter. He's pitched 3 1-2-3 innings out of the first 4, but in the third, control trouble caused him to face 8 batters. He surrendered 5 runs, including a 3-run homer to Juan Gonzalez. He's retired 4 in a row since the home run. Benji Gill walked with 2 outs in the third and scored the first of the 5 runs. He'll be followed by Otis Nixon and Mark McLemore. It's off the glove of Smith. Valentin throws him out. 1-6-3 if you're scoring.
Good play there by Valentin. That was not as easy as it looked because he had broken toward the center field behind second base, and the ball was deflected. And actually a good play by Zane Smith to get a glove on it and slow it down. You see Valentin had started. Now he has to play the hop. He gets a big hop, but he has to show that he does have a strong arm from that deep. Good hustle there by Benji Gill.
Otis Nixon had the infield single on the ball that Valentin tried to barehand. Valentin couldn't come up with it. Naring in on the edge of the grass at third. Vaughn even with the bag at first. Nixon's 1 for 2. He struck out leading off the ball game. 1 ball, 1 strike on Otis. Strike. Otis played, of course, with the Atlanta Braves, still makes his home in Atlanta. He was at home the day Andre Rison's house burned down. They were neighbors. Otis thought someone was having a barbecue, but it seemed a little odd at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, well. Funny things do happen to athletes, I guess.
Yes. Not funny if you're Andre Rison.
No.
Or his girlfriend, I guess. Full count now on Nixon.
Guess the question is, did Nixon go over and try to put out the fire?
I don't think so.
That should be the question.
Off the end of the bat, charged by Bell. 2 down. We hope you'll join ESPN this Thursday and Friday for coverage of the British Open from the Old Course at St. Andrews. We'll have live coverage at 9 a.m. Eastern Time and tape-delayed coverage at 4 and 7:30 p.m. Eastern. It's the British Open Thursday and Friday right here on ESPN. Folks on the bleachers always know where the camera is when it's pointed at them. Mark McLemore bounced to second in the first, walked and scored on the Gonzalez home run in the third. Line and caught by Naring. Another 1-2-3 inning for Smith. He said 4 out of the 5 go 1-2-3. Kenny Rogers has shut out the Boston Red Sox on 2 hits through the first 4 innings. He'll face batters 8, 9, and 1 in the home half of the 5th here at Fenway Park. Mike McFarland, Juan Bell, and Lee Tinsley coming up.
McFarland has one of the 2 hits. He'll have to wait as something has come onto the field in center field. McFarland double to left field in the second with 2 outs and was stranded. We're talking about these 2 teams with a similar problem. Lack of dependability in the starting rotation. Rogers having a nice start tonight. Tough to grade Zane Smith's start other than the 1 inning.
Yeah.
Been a decent start, but that was quite an inning.
And you know, that is difficult if you're Kevin Kennedy to say to yourself, is this a good start or is this not a good start? You're down 5 runs. I mean, you say, well, that's not a good start, but you look up and you see 4 zeros in the other inning. So it's difficult to evaluate whether this is a positive start for Zane Smith or not.
It was not as difficult, Kevin Kennedy, to evaluate the start of his starting pitcher Thursday night in Game 1 of the series. Roger Clemens was shellacked by the Rangers, allowed 8 runs in 4 innings plus, and I guess it's good news, bad news after the game when Clemens said he felt fine. There wasn't anything physically wrong. If that's the case, you have to wonder how something like that could happen to a guy like Clemens. Included in that line was 4 home runs hit by the Rangers.
High fastballs all by Gonzalez, Rodriguez, Greer, and Rodriguez again. I mean, you do not normally see Roger Clemens' high fastball get hit that hard. That is usually an out pitch for Roger, the high fastball, but he apparently does not have the same hop on his fastball up in the strike zone as he has in the past.
Pitch in the dirt to Bell, and McFarland moves to second. A walk and a wild pitch, and the Red Sox have a runner in scoring position with nobody out in the 5th inning.
Well, Rodriguez got his body in front of the ball, but it bounces away, and because this is a slider in the dirt, it hit off the end of his glove. Actually, his body was in front, but he comes up, and really not much of a chance to get McFarland, speedy McFarland.
Yes.
We've seen his speed twice tonight.
On the double, and now moving from first to second on the first wild pitch of the night, thrown by Rogers. Time call. That start Thursday night, by the way, was the first time in Clemens' career that he had given up 4 home runs in 1 outing. And the scouts here Thursday night had him on the gun in the mid to high 80s most of the night. He used to be consistently in the mid 90s. And talking with Dan Duquette, Red Sox general manager, before the game tonight, he said Roger, if the velocity isn't going to come back, is going to have to make some adjustments to deal with the reduced velocity.
Well, I guarantee you that he's going to have to make some adjustments, but he's also capable of making those adjustments. Roger Clemens has never been just a pure thrower. He has always really known how to use his other pitches. I think now he will just have to go to those other pitches a little more often, and that will make his fastball quicker again. So I expect Roger to win a lot of ball games the second half. I mean, he's too good a pitcher not to make the proper adjustments. Plus, he went to the University of Texas. That makes him smart enough to make the adjustments.
Of course, maybe for the benefit of...
Yeah, he would like that, Roger.
Yes. Roger was booed lustily when he was removed from that game Thursday. Fans are a little bit restless as he has struggled throughout the season.
But we have to be honest about the fact that he was injured. He was in spring training. He missed some spring training. We know it was already a shortened spring training, so it has not been a normal season for Roger.
Good breaking ball by Rogers to strike out Bell for the first out of the inning, and that's 5 strikeouts now for the all-star left-handers.
Let's take a look at this one-finger curveball. You can see the finger off the curveball. I would wonder if the hitter can see that. There you see how he holds his curveball. In a lot of cases, when you're standing in the batter's box, you can see a finger hanging off the ball. And in this case, you know it's a curveball because when I played, I could see on the changeup, you could see their fingers off the ball. You know it's a changeup. But obviously, it doesn't matter tonight. His curveball's working very well.
Well, as a hitter, if you see that grip we just saw from Rogers, you know it's either a curveball or he doesn't like you very much.
Right. We'll take another look. Now watch, you can see the finger right there. As a hitter, you should be able to see that. I know he's usually moving in full speed, but as a hitter, you're trained to watch for things like that, and you should recognize if a finger is off the ball or if he's gripping it differently.
Lee Tinsley looped the single into right in the first, bounced to third in the third. 5-0 Texas in the fifth. One out, McFarland, the runner at second. Chopped to short, and Benji Gill with plenty on the throw for the second out. On the play, McFarland moved to third.
I want to correct something too. I said that was Rusty Greer to hit that home run on third. That was Paliarulo hit the home run, not Rusty Greer.
And you better correct it around here because Paliarulo is from this area.
Oh, okay.
Relatives and fans nearby.
But they were happy he hit it against Rogers?
Well, I think they probably were.
Oh, okay.
Being loyal family members. I grew up in Medford, which is just north of Boston. Willie McGee has struck out twice, both times swinging. Swings resembling that one.
Well, he has not been getting strikes. He's been swinging at bad pitches. Willie McGee is a bad ball hitter. He will swing at a lot of bad pitches. But he's having more problems than I've seen against Rogers tonight.
Foul went off his foot. 0-2.
Willie McGee, when he was in the National League, he won a couple of batting championships, played on the St. Louis Cardinals championship teams, and he was talking about the fact that coming over here, his role now is to help guys like Lee Tinsley to understand how to play in a pennant race, to understand you can't have too many highs and lows in a season. And I think that's one of the problems the Red Sox have had over the years. Things would be going great and they're up here very high, and then when things happen that hurt them, the bottom would fall out.
Chopped down the line. Ortiz wisely let it go foul.
The one thing a good team has to have over the course of the season, Sean, is to stay on an even keel. The good teams will always stay on an even keel. Even when they're struggling, they do not panic. But one of the problems here is that they've seen the Boston Red Sox fall from the top so often that every time something goes wrong, the media is ready to jump on it and point that out. So I think that Kevin Kennedy is perfect for this situation. I think Johnny Oates is perfect for the Texas situation. I think this is a very good fit for both of these teams and their new managers. I think they fit well with their ball clubs.
And the Red Sox would like to see that man back in action. Mike Greenwell on the disabled list with a rib cage pull. That's a swing. McGee has gone for the hat trick. 3 strikeouts and 6 in all for Kenny Rogers. Sean McDonough, Joe Morgan at Fenway Park in Boston. Final game of a 4-game series between the Red Sox and the Rangers. And Texas has a 5-0 lead as the Rangers come up in the 6th. Again, Zane Smith. Will Clark 1 for 2. He singled in the left center to drive it in 2 runs, then scored when Juan Gonzalez followed with a 3-run homer. Those two will start the inning, and then Ivan Rodriguez. Big bats coming up against Zane Smith. Set down 7 in a row since the home run by Gonzalez.
We've seen 2 different Will Clarks. The first inning, he tried to pull the ball. And then when he had runners in scoring position, he just served a little line drive over shortstop. And now he looks like he's back to trying to pull the ball. You can tell by his stride. He makes a bigger stride when he's trying to generate more bat speed and more power. And when he's just trying to go the other way, he just kind of stands there, takes a shorter stride, and cuts down on his swing. Yeah, see, he's trying to jerk the ball now. But that's good. I mean, I think you should be able to make adjustments. Get the bases loaded, you need a 2-out RBI single, you take a single to left field. See how big the stride is and long swing. That's a more powerful swing there. He's attacking the ball there, whereas before he was just trying to get a single to left center, and he did so.
Clark missed the 7 games leading up to the All-Star break with the right groin strain. He's been sizzling since returning to action Thursday for game 1 of this series. He's 8 for 15 since coming back. Now it's 16 runs batted in his last 14 games. His We've talked about how it's impressive what the Red Sox have accomplished, given the disappointing performances and the injuries. It's really also true of Texas. Gonzalez has missed a lot of the year. Will Clark's had a lot of injuries, not quite the numbers that you would expect from him, as they're contending for first. Troy O'Leary just in front of the warning track, 1 out.
Their situation is very similar to Boston's as well, because they've had guys like McLemore, who's had great seasons, and so has Rodriguez.
Now Juan Gonzalez, who in his last at bat in the 3rd inning took Zane Smith and Willie McGee into the bullpen and right. A 3-run homer. Gonzalez's 14th of the year in just 38 games.
And since he has been back, and since he's been DHing a little bit and also playing left field, he has been hot. There you see he's the leader and home run leader for the Texas Rangers, passing Ruben Sierra with his home run tonight.
He's homered in 4 of his last 5 games. This was Zane Smith who was on the mound when Mark McGwire earlier this year hit 3 home runs in a game at Fenway Park. One of them estimated in that tail of the tape at 463 feet.
Just like we used to hit them on the golf course. I don't even hit it that far on the golf course anymore.
There's a building across the street behind the left field wall, and McGwire hit one that hit the roof, back side of the roof, across the street. Took one hop and disappeared from view completely. 463 might have been shortchanged. McGwire hit 5 home runs over 2 games during a weekend series earlier this year here at Fenway.
That is a pitch that Zane Smith has been trying to get all night, Sean, and he finally gets one from Terry Kraft.
Down the right field line. And a foul ball. Just foul.
Not to say they were strikes before, it's just that Zane Smith has wanted them. Watch Gonzalez. We talked about how he tries the same place, but then he goes with his upper body. I mean, that is not a great swing, but it's great fundamentals in that he went to the ball. He did not pull off. A lot of hitters will pull their left shoulder out, and they'll miss that pitch completely. He just went the other way and fouled it off.
In the dirt, 2-2, 1 out, bases empty. 5-0 Texas. In the 6th, almost as many home runs as singles this year for Juan Gonzalez. This is a shortened season due to the labor problem, and shortened even more for Gonzalez because of the back injury that had him out of action. That's a strike, says Don Benkinger, quite emphatically. And it's a strikeout of Gonzalez.
Well, without you watching in slow motion, I thought he swung as well. We'll take another look. Well, maybe not. Very close. Very close. Let's take a look. Actually, he had good control of that bat, so I was fooled. I was fooled myself. I'm not looking from first base, but I was fooled because I actually thought he went as well. And I might add, in slow motion, it normally looks like you go even if you do not. And there, it looked like he stopped.
Pudge Rodriguez 0 for 2. Slide to center and bounce to first. I mentioned it's a shortened season for Gonzalez. Took the numbers he's posted this year and figured them out over 162 games. He hit 59 homers and drive in 158 runs. 5-0 Texas.
Reggie Jackson is a big hero of Mo Vaughn's. He talked about the Yankees. We're going to take a look at their stances here. Very similar, chin tucked over their right shoulders. Now watch Reggie. Here's where the difference starts, right here. Right there. Watch it. See, Reggie's hips have started to clear out of the way because he has a longer swing. Takes him a little more time to get through. And see how long that swing is, and very powerful. The Mo Vaughn swing, now watch his hips. They will remain closed right there. And his swing is much shorter. And he attacks the ball with the same vigor, but he's also a much better average hitter than Reggie was. and that's because of the shortened swing. He's a little shorter than Reggie's, but they both very powerful individuals. Reggie, of course, in the 70s and 80s, and now Mo Vaughn here in the 90s.
Mo fooled by the first pitch he saw in this at-bat from Rogers. Mo's 0 for 2. And now in the hole 0 and 2.
Well, Rogers has made very good pitches to Mo Vaughn. He has changed speeds and kept him off bat. There you see Mo Vaughn's home runs per at bat. And there you see 1995, excellent. But he has kept Mo off balance by mixing the fastball in with the slow curveball.
Now, these pitchers have been right around the plate all night, and they are not being rewarded by Terry Kraft.
Well, that is about as good as 0-2 pitch as you could make. I mean, that is what they call a borderline pitch, and that's what you want. You want a pitch that if he swings at it, he can't do much with it. And Terry Kraft said it was up and out of the strike zone.
Breaking ball fouled off Vaughn's leg.
See, that's what he does. He throws a curveball, then a fastball. Now he comes back with a curveball. When you see all those different speeds, it's hard to adjust, especially a left-handed hitter who doesn't face as many left-handed pitchers as you'd like. But the one thing that Vaughn has been able to do in the course of the year is to keep that front shoulder in and not try to pull the ball.
You mentioned the Yankees and Mo's affection for the Yankees growing up. He grew up in Connecticut, and that state is really divided right down the middle. Red Sox fans and Yankee fans. When Mo was growing up, the Yankees had guys like Reggie, Nettles, Willie Randolph. Mo was a diehard Yankee fan. Shoots that out of Florida left.
And one thing to note here, too, is the reason I say Rogers is pitching him very well, is that the fastballs that he's throwing are all in tight. He's not missing out over the plate. If he gets one out over the plate, Mo can handle it. But he is keeping the fastball in under the hands and getting the breaking ball out over the plate. This pitching very well against Mo.
He missed inside. Full count.
Normally with a 5-run lead, you say, well, I don't want to walk anyone with Canseco coming up next. And this is the leadoff hitter, so you would normally throw a fastball. But you never know what Kevin Rogers is thinking out there. He whites off.
And his 3-2 is low. Vaughn draws a leadoff walk. The third walk, making the fourth walk issued by Rogers. He was only given up 2 hits.
Well, apparently Rodriguez called for a fastball, and he wiped him off to get to the breaking ball.
Jose Canseco walked in the first, struck out swinging in the fourth. We're in the 6th, and the Rangers lead 5-0. Around the outside part of the plate, 1-0 on Canseco. Approaching the milestone of 300 home runs. 18 away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Of course, if he can stay healthy for a full year playing in this ballpark, it's fun to speculate how many home runs he might hit. He hits a lot of towering fly balls that in the past, particularly when he was in Oakland, would be outs in Oakland, would have been home runs here. Other pitcher's pitch called the ball.
And Rogers is definitely upset about that pitch. And he's going out. He wants Rodriguez to come out and say, what can I do here? I can't get the pitches that I want. And so he's talking to him about it. You could see, call that for yourself, whether it was on the edge or off the edge. Of course, Terry Kraft thought it was off the edge. His opinion is the only one that counts at this moment.
Well, I've talked with several umpires about this whole notion of speeding up the game by widening the strokes on it, and they're offended by the suggestion.
Right. And
I think we've seen a great example of it tonight.
And I can understand why they would be offended, though, Sean, because they're saying it's either a ball or it's a strike. If it's a strike, I call it a strike. If it's a ball, I call it a ball. At least in their perception. This is their perception of the strike zone. So, in effect, you are challenging their character.
Yeah, I
suppose. Widen it a little bit. Or
I would just
just be challenging their perception, that's all. Bounce through the right side, past the diving Fry. Vaughn will stop at second, doesn't want to take the chance of making the first out of the inning at third base with his team down by 5. That's just the third Boston hit. It wasn't scorched, but it went through for Canseco.
A different stance for Jose. He used to stand wide open and close his shoulders and go in. I don't know if this is a change for Boston or not, but you see not as much movement there because he's going the other way. See, he doesn't really stride. All he wants to do is put the ball in play on that particular pitch, and he does so by hitting the ball through the hole on the right side. Didn't stride at all. You have to be strong in order to do that, though.
Dick Bosman, the pitching coach, at the mound. They had the shift on, the second baseman Fry playing way up the middle, and then they gave Canseco a pitch he could hit through the right side. There's Roger McDowell warming up in the Texas bullpen. John Oates and Dick Bosman have been together a long time, about 7 years now, and some suggest that the reason John has Dick as his pitching coach is that Bosman gave up Oates' first major league hit. He has such a fond remembrance of him. Actually, Bosman has great memories of Fenway Park. He broke into the big leagues in 1966 with Washington. His first major league appearance was here at Fenway, and he earned a win that night. He said as he was walking in from the bullpen, he said, "Lord, just let me get somebody out." And then as he got a couple of guys out, he said, "Well, let me just go a couple of innings." And then after he went a few innings, he said, "Lord, just let me get the win." He got a little greedier as the game went along, and he did get the win.
Isn't that the way it always is?
Tim Naring would like to get greedy. He's 0 for 1 with a walk. First 2 men on. Red Sox trail the Rangers 5-0 in the 6th. Naring looked at a borderline strike.
I think what the Red Sox have to do, they have to put some runs on the board this inning if they're going to have a real shot at winning this ball game. I think they have to put some runs out there quickly because otherwise they're going to get into the bullpen, and the bullpen has pitched pretty well late in the ball game. They've got Jeff Russell back now, and McDowell is a very good pitcher in that he can keep the ball on the ground and keep from hitting the ball out of the ballpark.
Starting out, they want Rogers to keep the ball down, and obviously he has with all those ground outs. 2-1 on Naring. He's batting with Mo Vaughn at second base and Jose Canseco at first. Then a pitcher's duel. Each team has only 3 hits. The Rangers lead 5-0. They got all 5 runs in the third. They haven't had a base runner in any other inning. Naring fouled it back. I guess it's doubly good news tonight for Texas in that Rogers is pitching well, and they hope he's getting back on track. Also, he hasn't shown any signs of being bothered by the tenderness in his left shoulder that caused him to be pushed back from Friday night when he was scheduled to start to tonight. Now it's a full count.
Sometimes, in my opinion, choices of pitches are more important than where you throw the pitch. In a 2-2 situation there, I think you have to go with a sinker, try to get him before he knows that the fastball's coming. Now, he knows that you're going to have to throw him a fastball now.
He does, and Naring lines it to left, and it is caught by McLemore. Throw to second off the bag. It had been on the bag. They might have had a double play. As Vaughn was caught halfway between second and third, wondering if McLemore would be able to catch it.
Well, he hit that ball too hard. That's one of those. I mean, that was a bullet by Naring. But see, he knows the fastball's coming now, so he sits on it and he drills it. And Kevin Rogers was lucky that this ball was hit so hard, and McLemore was able to make the play. There you see Vaughn so far off. It was going to be a close play at second base. Throw off the line a little bit. But I'm sorry. I'm saying that Rogers should throw the fastball 2-2 rather than take it to full speed, to full count.
Now John Valentin was bounced to short and line to third. Rangers infield at double play depth. And Rogers missed with the opening breaking ball to Valentin.
In the late innings, a lot of times when you see a pitcher go to more and more breaking balls and changeup, it means that he is getting a little tired and he doesn't have the same confidence in his fastball that he
had earlier in the ball game.
And we saw another reason why they need a new Fenway Park. I mean, Tim Naring's in the dugout. You think that'd be a great seat? He had an obstructed view seat. I think he was at Boston Garden, sitting behind one of those poles. To short, a double play if they hurry. Fry turns it. And Rogers gets out of the inning unscathed. Great chance for Boston, goes by the boards, and they're still down 5-0.
Doubleheader in Detroit. Sparky Anderson looking at the Angels' Garrett Anderson and watching his lead slip away. Anderson would crush a home run off David Wells. He hit 2 home runs in the game. The Angels sweep it, and they lead the West by a game and a half.
And Gary, Texas trying to get back within a game with a win tonight. They lead 5-0. And after 6 innings from Zane Smith, Mike Maddox is the new pitcher for Boston.
There you see Maddox has pitched a lot in the National League. He has a very good curveball that he relies on a lot. Throws a changeup and a fastball.
He was released earlier this year by Pittsburgh and signed by the Red Sox as the revolving door has been revolving all year long for Boston. Maddox, the brother of Greg Maddox. Matter of fact, when Red Sox signed Mike Maddox, assistant general manager Mike Port was on the road trip in Oakland when addressing the meeting. Said, we announcing today we have signed Greg Maddox.
Wish
right. Yes, indeed. Every general manager would like to be able to say that.
You talk about pitchers, he is amazing.
And Mike Maddox has done a very solid job for Boston, being used primarily in long relief. Luis Ortiz has hit it sharply twice tonight with nothing to show for it. He lined to first. Vaughn made a terrific diving catch in the second. Then he hit a bullet down to third. Naring made a great backhanded play, got up and threw him out. And an interesting night for the Boston starter, Zane Smith. He worked 6 innings, 5 1-2-3 innings, but the third inning he faced 8 batters, 5 of them scored. He had control trouble in the third, walked 3. Gonzalez hit a 3-run homer. Bell in foul ground, the catch.
Well, the question is still, was this a good outing or a poor outing?
It is a tough question to answer. Bishop say was mediocre.
Because, I mean, they scored all their runs with 2 outs in the inning. So it's difficult. Obviously, you'd like, if you're the manager, say, hey, I'm trailing 5-0. That means it was a bad outing.
Right. Bottom line is results. When you give up 5 runs in 6 innings, tough to determine a good outing. Although I think the Red Sox have been looking for positives that they can take away from a Zane Smith outing. Perhaps they saw some of those tonight.
Well, I think they did. Really, he ran into 2 hot hitters. Will Clark, as you mentioned, swinging the bat very, very well now, and Juan Gonzalez. I mean, those 2 guys have been swinging the bat exceptionally well the last couple of days, and they happen to be the right players up there at the right time as far as Texas is concerned.
Two balls, 1 strike, the count, 1 out, base is empty. Jack Boyd has walked and bounced out. He'll be followed by Jeff Fry. Foul ball got a piece of Mike McFarland.
I talked about the personality of Johnny Oates and being a quiet, relaxed kind of player. Dan Duquette actually interviewed him
for
this Boston job, and then Kennedy became available, and he took Kennedy, and Johnny Oates went to Texas. And I think both franchises are very fortunate they both got good people that fit right in with their ball club. I think there was a lot of pressure on the Texas players to win down there, and Oates is a relaxed player, manager who has come from that type of an atmosphere. He was in Baltimore where there was pressure to win and so forth and so on. So I think he can identify with the players and hopefully keep them relaxed.
And several Texas players were critical of Kevin Kennedy after he was fired last fall as manager of the Rangers.
Said he was too detailed, right? Too intense. And I don't necessarily buy that personally, but if the players feel that way and they feel they can play better for a
it's more relaxed. Maybe that works.
Maddox with a strikeout of Hoyt. I hope you'll join ESPN tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific for In the Sports Light with Robin Roberts. Robin will be talking sports with coaches Craig T. Nelson and the hot new band Hootie and the Blowfish. It's tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern right here on ESPN. Jeff Fry bounced into a double play and is struck out. Batting with 2 outs and the base is empty. The Rangers have not had a base runner in any inning except the third. They haven't had one since Gonzalez hit a 3-run homer. Fry a long way to the opposite field, but McGee got back to make the catch. 7th inning stretch at Fenway. 5-0 Texas. Welcome back to Boston. Sean McDonough with Joe Morgan. The Texas Rangers lead 5-0. They're getting a terrific pitching performance tonight from Kenny Rogers, but the age-old question with the Texas Rangers, do they have enough starting pitching to contend the rest of the way with California?
Well, they got a positive sign from Gross the other day, because I believe Gross is really a key for them, because I felt like Gross would pitch well and be a winner for them. But it still leaves a question. Of course, Tewksbury is a fine pitcher. They're probably 1 pitcher short, but that goes for just about every team in baseball now. They're usually 1 pitcher short.
As a matter of fact, John Oates has talked about the possibility of a 4-man rotation being used in a couple of places around the majors this year, but they're a little reluctant to do it, in part because Rogers has had the shoulder trouble lately, and Tewksbury has a chronic bad back. But only 3 hits for Boston tonight off Kenny Rogers. And he's pitching with a 5-0 lead.
I think it would be difficult for them to go to a 4-man rotation because of the points you just made, because you can't risk those guys, because if you lose them, then you need 2 more pitchers.
Perhaps the 4-man rotation is starting to take its toll on Kevin Apier. Kansas City, they're one of the teams that have done it virtually throughout, and he has really struggled lately after a tremendous start. Troy O'Leary up there with a count of 1-1. He has bounced back to the mound and flied to left.
I must admit, Sean, I am a believer in the 4-man rotation personally, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You have to try it.
Kevin Kennedy has said he would try it in September if the race was close.
You have to remember also in Kansas City, Gene Mauch is a bench coach there for Bob Boone, and Gene Mauch is used to a 4-man rotation. In fact, Gene Mauch went to a 2-man rotation in, I guess, 1963. Was it Chris Short was over there?
We'll see the 4-man rotation of the Royals next Sunday night as they play host to Cal Ripken and the Baltimore Orioles. 7:56 Eastern Time. John Miller will return from vacation. Still 1-2 on O'Leary. Bottom third of the order for Boston. O'Leary, McFarland, and Bell. And an awkward swing by O'Leary. He was fooled. That's 7 strikeouts now for Rogers, matching his season high. It's the 3rd time he has done it this year. He's done it against Toronto, Kansas City, and now Boston.
Now watch Rogers where he ends up, way over on the first base side. He throws that curveball. He tries to make sure he gets around it on the left-handed hitter, and you see that he really does fool O'Leary. O'Leary kind of steps toward first base and reaches back, can't handle it.
Mike McFarland, the batter. He's been on base twice. He's doubled and walked. Red Sox have left 6 men on base. They are the only team in Major League Baseball that has not been shut out this year. And that's in jeopardy, as it was last night as well. Gross baffled them for most of the night. Red Sox got a late couple of runs. There's Kevin Gross. Pitched pretty well lately after a terrible start that had him thinking about retirement. McFarland toward the triangle. Nixon. 2 down. McFarland hit it a long way, but that, as we mentioned earlier, is the deepest part of the ballpark.
Wrong spot.
Yep.
Just think about it. The Green Monster has not been a factor in this ball game at all, and we've had two left-handed pitchers start this game. This is a high fastball. He pulled the first high fastball. He got down into the left field corner for a double. This one he hits almost straight away center field, and Otis Nixon tracks it down. But normally you think of the Green Monster when you're here in Fenway, and these left-handed pitchers have kept everyone away from the Green Monster.
One down to third, and Ortiz throws him out. Rogers has a 1-2-3 inning. He has shut out Boston through 7. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball from Boston. The Rangers lead the Red Sox 5-0. Doubleheader Wednesday night here on ESPN. It starts with the Phillies and the Rockies. The interesting starting time locally there in Denver, 5:30, 7:30 Eastern time. And then it's the Reds and the Padres, 10:30 Eastern time. John Smiley and Tony Gwynn, a couple of all-stars. First pitch of the 8th, lifted to right, deep but not deep enough. McGee on the edge of the warning track made the catch. Benji Gill, the first out of the 8th inning.
Number 2, center fielder.
And they still have not had a base runner, the Rangers, since the home run by Gonzalez in the 3rd.
Take a look at Benji Gill. This is good hitting here by Gill. He tries to go the other way, just gets under it. But you can see that he still pulls off just a little bit. And that's been one of his problems. He's been pulling off because he was pitched inside so often, started trying to adjust, and now he's having trouble with the pitches away.
Otis Nixon, a fair ball into the left field corner. Leary was playing him over there, and he got it back in quickly, holding Nixon to a single. He's 2 for 4, and it's the only base runner the Rangers have had, with the exception of the 3rd inning.
Number 3, left fielder.
This is good hitting here by Nixon. See, he just lays the bat on the ball. That kind of reminded me a little bit of Maury Wills. He just kind of threw his hands at the ball, just slapped it to left field, and that's good hitting for a leadoff hitter.
Mark McLemore, a swing and a miss. He's 0 for 2, a walk and a run scored on the Gonzalez home run in the 3rd. Rangers trying to add to a 5-0 lead. A good bat handler at the plate and a good runner at first. The attendance here tonight, 30,295. This is one of the few places where attendance has not fallen off. They're just about the same pace as last year here at Fenway. Local TV ratings for the Red Sox, just about where they were last year. And Neri Abu was hurt on opening day. This can be a very tough town, but they have not reacted negatively as has happened elsewhere.
Yeah, most places have felt the repercussions of the strike, so it's good to know. I mean, but Boston is one of the real fan-friendly towns in baseball.
This 4-game series with the Rangers has drawn just under 130,000. One and one on McLemore, and Nixon asked for time over at first. Appeared he didn't understand the signs. Otis among the league leaders in steals with the 21. He's tied for 3rd. Good pitch by Mike Maddox. 1 and 2 the count. Maddox has pitched an inning and a 3rd in relief of Zane Smith. And the hit by Nixon, the first base runner the Rangers have had since he took them out. Chopped slowly down to first. Vaughn's only play is at first base. For the 2nd out of the inning, Nixon moves into scoring position. action in the Boston bullpen. The left-hander is Brian Bart, and the right-hander Joe Hudson. Both are rookies. Red Sox have struggled all year to find the right combination on their pitching staff. Will Clark, the batter. He dumped the single in the left center to drive in 2 runs in the 3rd. Which has only hit in 3 at-bats tonight. Rangers lead 5-0. A man in scoring position, 2 outs in the 8th.
It's interesting here whether Maddox will go after Will Clark or try to decide to get the right-handed hitting Juan Gonzalez out, who was on deck.
Not an appealing choice either way.
Exactly. Actually, I think I would go after Will Clark. As good a hitter as he is, he's less likely to hit the ball out of the ballpark than Gonzalez is at this stage of his career.
1-1 from Maddox. In the dirt. Gets by McFarland. And to 3rd goes Nixon. It's been a problem all year for Boston. They've thrown more wild pitches than any other team in the league.
This is a breaking ball, and he wants to make sure he keeps it down to Will Clark, and he gets it too low. And McFarland tried to catch the ball. That may have been a situation where he just should have blocked it with his chest instead of trying to catch it. It hit off the edge of his glove and bounced away.
Clark, a line drive caught by Juan Bell. He was stretched as much as he could be, and he took it in to save a run. Take an RBI and a hit away from Will Clark. Heading to the bottom of the 8th in Boston. Texas 5 and Boston nothing. Welcome back to Fenway Park in Boston. Homestanding Red Sox trail Texas 5-0. And as we go to the bottom of the 8th, there's a new pitcher on the mound. Left-hander Terry Burrows takes over after 7 scoreless innings from Kenny Rogers. You see the numbers on Burrows. Rogers pitched 7 innings and allowed just 3 hits and no runs. He walked 4 and struck out 7, tying his season high. He threw 108 pitches, and given that he has had some tenderness in his shoulder lately, probably not a bad idea by Johnny Oates and Dick Bosman to get him out of the ball game. They hope that with their improved bullpen this year, they can protect the 5-run lead. Burrows on to face the top of the order. Lee Tinsley, 1 for 3 of first inning single. He bounced out twice since. Willie McGee to follow, then Mo Vaughn. Burrows missed up and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. They have to be delighted with what they saw tonight from Kenny Rogers.
Yeah, there's no question about the performance of Rogers. We mentioned a question about Zane Smith, but Rogers pitched great baseball tonight.
Burrows missed 2-1. Terry's 26 years old. Lifelong resident of Lake Charles, Louisiana. And the ball low. Certainly Burrows doesn't want to come in with a 5-run lead and walk the first batter. Batter with speed and Tinsley. And a swing and a miss by Tinsley, and it's a full count. Burrows has never had a full season in the major leagues. Broke into the big leagues last year. Most of the year at their AAA club in Oklahoma City. And it was fought off to the right by Tinsley.
One of the other things is we'll have
an effect on the pennant races if it stays real hot in Texas like it was during the All-Star break. And that has to have an effect on the players of the Rangers down the stretch. You have to play in that type of heat day in and day out for any, 2 weeks at a time or 10 days at a time. I tell you, it can take its toll. I've seen it happen to a lot of teams. In fact, that's one of the things they said about the Chicago Cubs, because they played all those day games and down the stretch they would tire out. And I just wonder how much effect that will have on Texas down the stretch.
Line drive and a base hit into right center. Boyd over to play it. Tinsley is 2 for 4, and the Red Sox have their 4th hit. 2 for Tinsley, 1 for Canseco, 1 for McFarland, and that's all tonight.
Well, Jim Rice has to be happy, because that's what he was trying to get Tinsley to do in batting practice, is take this ball the other way, and he does so. Although that pitch was up in the strike zone, Burroughs was just trying to throw a strike. But Willie McGee has to be happy that Burroughs is out there and Rogers is gone.
0 for 3 with 3 whips against Rogers.
And that may be the first strike he's seen all night, and he took it. He was swinging a lot of bad pitches off of Kenny Rogers, and now he takes a strike from Burroughs.
He with 2 batting titles in the National League. And he says the greatest thrill of his career was winning the World Series.
That is special, to be able to win a World Series. The individual honors kind of pale in comparison, because you're sharing that with your teammates, someone that you've worked very hard with. And to be able to share that with them is special.
Slapped it to the right side. Fry took the sure thing at first base. And Tinsley is in scoring position. Now Mo Vaughn in his return to action after missing 2 days with the bruised left eye. 0 for 2 with a walk. Made a couple of nice plays in the field. Apparently Tinsley left something at first base. He's going back to gather it from Frank White. Texas leads 5-0. Vaughn facing a pitcher in Burroughs who has not pitched very well lately. Burroughs has given up 8 earned runs in his last 7 innings pitched. Appeared in relief here Thursday night. Faced 1 batter and struck out Tim Naring as pinch hitter. 2 appearances prior to that and had been in a starting role. Vaughn line to left to hit. And that will bring in the first run of the night for the Red Sox. Tinsley around to score. And Boston remains the only team in Major League Baseball this year that has not been shut out. And Vaughn adds to his Major League leading RBI total. He has 64. And John Oates isn't going to waste any time in taking Burroughs out and going to the bullpen. With the score, the Rangers 5 and the Red Sox 1. Roger McDowell will be the new pitcher when we come back.
Mo Vaughn moved off the plate this last at bat because they've been pitching him inside. Then he strides out here because he's going the other way. Now watch him dive into the pitch. He had made up his mind that he was going to get off the plate and dive in, and that's what he did, because they had been pitching him inside and he was having trouble with the fastball in. Smart move there by Mo Vaughn.
And it knocks Burroughs out of the game. The Red Sox are on the board, and Roger McDowell is on to make his 35th appearance. That leads the league. Like Burroughs, he hasn't had a very good time of it lately. He's allowed 4 earned runs in his last 6 1/3 innings pitched. And he's greeted by Jose Canseco. On at first, 1 out. 5-1 Texas in the 8th. McDowell's first pitch, tough to tell where it missed. Called ball 1.
I'll tell you one thing, McDowell doesn't want to get the ball up there, though. He is a sinker ball pitcher, and his forte is keeping the ball in the ballpark. With his sinker, it's almost impossible to lift the ball when he keeps it down.
Roger had a great month of June. He went 3-0 in June. An ERA of 1.47 and was honored as the Rangers Player of the Month. And a strike, 2-1. Pitch called a ball. Thinking about a home run from Canseco, it's not likely. Against McDowell, only given up 2 home runs all year.
He keeps the ball in the ballpark. That's why, I mean, he's kind of a security blanket if you're a manager. You know, if he comes in, he's going to keep the ball in the park for you. And of course, he's a good sinker ball pitcher, and a ground ball is exactly what they need right here.
3-1, chopped up the middle, base hit. And now the tying run is in the on-deck circle. And you wonder if John Oates and Dick Bosman are starting to second-guess themselves about the decision to take Rogers out of the ballgame.
Let's take a look at Jose Canseco's swing. Remember, he used to stand open with his almost facing the pitcher, and then he'd close his body and stay in. Now you see everything is out right there. He doesn't have the same body position that he had years ago, and he's just so strong that he can muscle this ball through the infield. You can see his shoulders are gone. His front side's already open. He is not the same hitter. He's not generating the same bat speed that he did before.
Now Tim Nearing, 0 for 2 last time up. He came up with 2 men on, nobody out in the 6th inning. A wicked line drive that was caught by the left fielder McLemore. And Vosburg is warming up in the Texas bullpen. That expression does not change much. We've seen all night. In the case of Kevin Kennedy. John Oates' expression is starting to change. Red Sox trying to get back into the ball game. Ball low. I mentioned McDowell's ability to keep the ball in the ballpark. In his career, he's only given up 40 home runs. That's in 949 and a third innings. That's the best ratio, home runs to innings, among active pitchers. The 2-0. Line to hit. Base hit and a right. They'll hold Vaughn at third. And now the tying run will come to the plate.
Well, John Valentin has struggled lately in this situation, and let's take a look at his at-bats tonight. He is trying to pull every pitch. In the 2nd inning, watch his hands. He rolls over it and pulls the ball. In the 4th inning, the same situation. He's going to have 4 identical swings. Everything is being, look at him, he's reaching and trying to pull everything. And if he does that off McDowell, he's going to hit another ground ball, and the Red Sox are going to be in trouble again. And you see he's done very well with the bases loaded. But he wasn't swinging as he is tonight.
Yeah.
He's trying to pull everything and just rolling his hands over. So we'll see how he attacks Roger McDowell in this situation. Again, Jim Rice was working with him in batting practice, trying to keep him from rolling his hands over, trying to get him to ground the balls up the middle and to the right side. And so far in this ball game, that has not happened.
Long conversation at the mound between Dick Bosman, pitching coach, and Roger McDowell, with Pudge Rodriguez also out there. Terry Kraft broke that up. Now he has to go back and tell Rodriguez it's time to get back behind the plate. We mentioned that Roger does not give up many home runs, but now the Red Sox are in a position where they could tie it with one swing of the bat. Tying run at the plate.
And he can make a mistake like anyone else. He can get that fastball up and up and in, and Valentin can hit it out of the ballpark. The way Valentin is swinging, it has to be a pitch middle of the plate in for him to drive it.
And the crowd really into it now. One of the few times tonight. Ball one way outside. McDowell isn't helping himself by throwing a first pitch ball to every batter, as he's done to all 3 his faced in this outing. Runs on 4 hits for Texas. 1 run, 7 hits, and 1 error for Boston. The 1-0. In the air, not all that deep and left. Vaughn is tagging. McLemore the catch. Vaughn trots home from third, and it's 5-2.
That looked like a much better swing, but he still pulled it to left field, but he gets the run home. And he closes the gap. This pitch is up a little bit, which is what you're looking for if you're a hitter. Something up. He gets jammed. You see, he didn't roll his wrist over that time. He didn't roll his top hand over. And it looked like he was trying to go back through the middle with that pitch.
Number 25.
The RBI for Valentin is 45th. That's second on the team. Troy O'Leary, a left-handed hitter coming up. They do have the lefty in the bullpen, but it looks like they'll stick with McDowell. O'Leary represents the time run. He's 0 for 3. His 8-game hitting streak at jeopardy. Big hack and a foul ball off to the left. O'Leary still the tying run at the plate. 2 men on. Seiko, the runner at second, and nearing at first. Now with 2 outs in the 8th. Leary will occasionally jack one out of the ballpark. 7 home runs. Up and in. The ball and a strike. Out in the Texas bullpen, their closer, Jeff Russell, has started warming up. He has joined Vosburg. Good pitch.
Excellent curveball there from McDowell. I was going to ask, I wonder how he's holding that ball, because the first 2 pitches were riding fastballs. They didn't sink. And this is a little slider or curveball, whichever he wants to call it. A little big for a slider.
Inside, and O'Leary bending out of the way. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 men on. 5-2 Texas. Just inside. Let's say this for Terry Kraft. He's been pretty consistent back there all night.
Yeah, I mean, that's just surprising me. I thought surely that he would come back with a sinker in that situation, McDowell, because that is his best pitch, not the curveball. But maybe he knows something about O'Leary, that at least he feels that that pitch is his best pitch in that situation.
The runners will be going with a 3-2 pitch. He struck him out. And the Red Sox get 2 but leave 2. And we head to the 9th. 5-2 Texas. Well, here in Boston, we believe that that is the correct spelling of Chowder and Sports Center. My mother and father loved Sports Center.
You've been here a long time, huh?
I have indeed, my whole life. Juan Gonzalez will bat here in the 9th inning. He hit in the 3rd inning and delivered the biggest hit of the ball game, a 3-run homer off Zane Smith. And Willie McGee was not hurt as he went into the bullpen. That hit is the difference in the game now, as it provided runs 3, 4, and 5, with the Red Sox getting 2 in the 8th. The difference is the Gonzalez homer, and he'll face a new pitcher. Stan Belinda on relief. He's alternated between being the closer and now the setup man since Rick Aguilera joined the team. He's had a very good year, as you can see by the numbers, including the 7-1 record out of the bullpen.
Well, this role may fit him
right now because he'll be the setup man for Aguilera, and it'll also free Joe Hudson. They will both be setup men now, and he'll have a pretty good bullpen after we get to the 6th, 7th inning.
Gonzalez looked at ball one. Only hit tonight is the 3-run home. He's also bounced back to the mound and struck out. Popped up in shallow center for Lee Tinsley. 1 out. And coming up next on Sports Center, Keith Olbermann, Dan Patrick talking about Jack Nicklaus, how he fared in the senior championship. Trouble today in the British Grand Prix. And the Sunday conversation is with Hideo Nomo and at least one other person.
Yeah, at least one other person.
The interpreter, one would suspect, was involved in that conversation. If not, I don't think we have much of a chance of understanding what they're talking about, Joe.
I don't think I could.
Pudge Rodriguez, 0 for 3 tonight. Rangers lead 5-2 in the 9th. Broken bat over the head of Belinda. Loved by Bell. 2 outs.
Bell showed a little flair there. Little flip underneath, a la Manny Trio. Trio used to flip it from underneath. He threw harder underneath than I could throw over the top. He jams Pudge Rodriguez and he hits it over the mound. Now watch this play by Bell. He charges, comes up with it and flips from down under.
And with the right-hander on the mound now, the pinch hitter for Luis Ortiz, Mike Paliarulo, part of the platoon at third with Ortiz, and pretty soon it'll probably be a platoon with Paliarulo and Steve Buechele, the former Ranger, let go not long ago by the Cubs, signed by the Rangers. He's in the minors, but I think he might be up with them and a part of their picture at third base within a week or so.
Well, they were convinced that physically he was okay. He's ready to play, so they just wanted him to get in baseball playing shape, and he'd be ready to go. He started his career with Texas, played there from '85 to '91.
Red Sox will need at least 3 to tie when they come up at the bottom of the 9th, at the bottom part of the order with Farland, Bell, and the leadoff hitter Tinsley. 2-1 to Paliarulo and all the way to the backstop. Stan Belinda, former Pittsburgh Pirate and Kansas City Royal. He grew up in Pennsylvania, wanted to pitch for the Pirates, and he'd still be pitching for the Pirates today had he not been the guy who gave up that hit to Francisco Cabrera in the '92 playoffs, Game 7. Hit by Cabrera, scored Sid Bream to win Game 7, and that was really it for Belinda in Pittsburgh.
That's tough because someone, you know, is always going to be a hero, and I guess someone has to be the GOAT. Well, I remember the base hit I got here in '75.
Jim Burton.
Jim Burton, and they got rid of him the next year, and he was a
good reason.
No, wait a minute. And he made a good pitch, actually. And the same thing with Belinda. I mean, that's what happened. Mitch Williams has never been the same either since the home run, you know, the poor World Series he had. It's unfortunate, but I guess that's the life of an athlete. But to Belinda's credit, he's bounced back and is having a good season here. And I bounced back after that.
Now, did you ever encounter Jim Burton again in your travels?
Never.
Paliarulo hammered one foul, and he did make a good pitch.
He did.
Jim's a nice fella.
Yeah, and he made a good pitch.
Here in Boston, the refrain ever since has been, why did Darrell Johnson put him in the game? Burton had really not been a key part of their pitching staff that year.
Well,
but there's a lot of that in Boston. We have several of those.
Why and what for?
Yeah, they're going to make a movie, as a matter of fact, called The Curse of the Bambino.
Yeah.
Another 3-2 and another foul ball.
Who'd you guys get for Bagwell? Who did the Boston Red Sox get for Bagwell?
Larry Anderson.
Yeah, I remember
now
Larry.
A pitching coach in Reading, the Phillies farm team. Wonderful guy.
What if?
Yeah. Well, the Red Sox attitude is when you are in position to win, particularly when you have not won since 1918. You have to go for it.
Shot.
And that's what they did. Here they traded Bagwell. That's what they've done this year. They gave up on a highly touted pitching prospect, Frank Rodriguez, only 22 years old, to acquire Aguilera. That banner is gathered some mildew and dust over the years.
That's I wonder if they're going to take that to the new stadium.
Well, it's a very lonely figure out there on the wall. Here's Rick Aguilera. Maybe he'll be the one who helps Boston end the curse of the Bambino.
There you see he's in very good company. Lee Smith and Dennis Eckersley.
Rusty Greer is batting for Jack Voigt. He's doing a good job of getting his bench people in. He'll also improve his defense if Rulo and Greer stay in the ball game. Linda missed low. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 outs, a runner at first. 5-2 Texas in the 9th. Those don't know what the curse of the Bambino is.
Yeah, tell them.
Commonly held opinion here in Boston that the Red Sox franchise has been jinxed ever since they sold Babe Ruth to the New York Yankees. They've not won a world championship since. That does not rank up there with one of the all-time great personnel moves either.
He was just a good pitcher then.
Yeah, just another pitcher.
Another pitcher.
Yeah, pretty good.
Another lefty.
With a good appetite.
For everything.
Shallow center. Tinsley makes the catch. And the Red Sox will try to end the curse of the Rangers when we come back. Changes for the Rangers as we go to the bottom of the 9th. Mike Pagliarulo remains in the game at third base. Pags at third. And Rusty Greer stays in the game in right field. And Johnny Oates turns the ball over to his closer, another former member of the Boston Red Sox, Jeff Russell. 13 saves and 20 appearances for Russell. He spent some time on the disabled list and just came back on Wednesday. He was out June 27th through July 12th with a herniated disc in his lower back. It's 13 for 15 in save chances, and this is a borderline save chance, but it does qualify as he comes in with a 3-run lead. He'll need to pitch 1 inning. Mike McFarland leads off. He has doubled, walked, and flied to center. Ball 1 inside. Juan Bell due up next, but Kevin Kennedy has Matt Stairs, a left-handed hitter, in the on-deck circle. In the hole from deep short, Benji Gill. Nice play, 1 out.
Very nice play. When you measure a shortstop and his defensive abilities, you always measure how he makes the play in the hole and whether he has arm enough to make this play. First of all, he catches a tough hop. This ball is, now watch, he catches the in-between hop. Now he sets himself and fires a strike all the way across the diamond, and that one you can hang a line of clothes on. Very good arm there by Benji Gill.
Matt Stairs, who came up from Pawtucket when Mike Greenwell was injured, a rib cage problem that still has him sidelined. Stairs has done a terrific job, as you can see by the numbers. .333 average in 15 games. He's 14 for 42, including a homer. His first in the majors. Came in Kansas City.
He's hacking.
Yes, he is. He does not get cheated.
Oh, that one. First, he swung at the first pitch, and then a hanging curve ball. He says, I'm going to get my at-bat in tonight.
And for the most part, he's been the starting left fielder in the absence of Greenwell on the bench to start the game tonight with the lefty on the mound. And he stood there and looked at strike 3 come right down the middle. Boston is down to its final out.
Well, he's thrown a fastball. He fouled off. Curveball, he fouled off. I guess he was looking for another curve.
He didn't get it.
No, he didn't. Look at that setup by Rodriguez right inside. And he gets most of the inside corner. Actually got a little bit toward the middle.
Lee Tinsley trying to keep Boston alive. It's another day in which it appears Boston will lose, but their closest pursuer actually loses ground because the Tigers lost 2 today. It's been fortunate that nobody else in this division has been able to make a serious run at them because the Red Sox have not played well. The Rangers are about to go to 11 games above the 500 mark for the first time this season.
And they have been trying to do this for a number of games, as you mentioned. This is their best start since 1976.
That should do it. Fry throws him out, and Boston goes in order against Jeff Russell in the 9th. Juan Gonzalez, the big hit tonight. His home run, a 3-run homer, the difference in the ball game. As Texas wins by a score of 5-2. Stay tuned for Sports Center with Keith and Dan coming up next. Kenny Rogers, the winning pitcher. Zane Smith, the loser. Russell saved it. Next Sunday night, John Miller returns. He'll be with Joe in Kansas City as the Royals host the Orioles, 7:56 Eastern Time. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. Now on this Sunday night, Sean McDonough for Joe Morgan. So long from Fenway Park.